Hi guys! So we've done a lot of science videos on this channel so far this summer, but one thing that we haven't done a lot of in our STEM videos is engineering. So today's activity is going to be an engineering activity. And then we're going to talk a little bit about center of gravity. So what is engineering? Engineering just means using science and usually a lot of math to try to build things or fix problems in a way that's going to be safe, effective, and it's going to last a long time. So engineers build things like bridges, they put in all the lighting in your house, they build elevators, they build buildings, and they even do things that you can't necessarily see, like they built the batteries in your phone, they even designed some medications and equipment that doctors use. So engineers do all kinds of things, and the one thing that they have all in common across all kinds of engineering is they need to know a lot about science, especially physics and math. Otherwise, nothing they would build works. Another thing that engineers have to do is they have to make sure that things that they build work in the real world. Sometimes in a science lab you can make something that's great in theory and it's super exciting, but when it comes time to actually making a lot of them for people to use, it doesn't actually work. Sometimes it's too expensive, sometimes it's too fragile and it will break too easily, and it's up to the engineer to make sure that they take the science from the lab and then make it actually useful. So one challenge that engineers run into a lot is that you might not have all of the materials you want to build something. Maybe you don't have enough money, or maybe you're trying to use less materials to save the environment. For example, if you build a house, maybe you want to use less wood to save more trees. So for today's experiment, we're only going to use one material, and that is old cardboard. So I got mine from a cereal box that somebody threw out, and I just cut it up into 17 squares like this. So as you can see the little cornflakes mascot. It's just a little square this big. And then, I'm not sure if you can tell, but I cut 4 little slits in it. So I cut 2 here on this side and 2 here. And I made 17 squares and I cut the slits on all of them. When you cut the slits, make sure that you don't cut them all the way down, because if they touch, then they'll just break. So mine only go down to about here, and mine only come up to about here. So there's still a gap of like this much cardboard in the middle where the cuts won't touch. So today's challenge is, I want you to make 17 little cardboard squares like this. You can use a cereal box, or you can use any kind of like thick paper or cardboard that you have at home. If you use thicker cardboard, you might have to get a grown-up to help you cut it. And without any other materials, we're gonna try to build a tower that's as tall as possible and can hold up a coffee mug. So, let's talk about center of gravity, because that's some science that's going to help you build this tower. So what is the center of gravity? You might know that gravity is this invisible force all around us that pulls things down. If something is evenly balanced and its weight is evenly balanced across the whole thing, that means the left side weighs the same as the right side, the top weighs the same as the bottom, everything weighs the same, then gravity will just pull it straight down. But something that isn't evenly balanced, with more weight on one side, is going to have that side be pulled down more than the light side. So think about when you weigh something, right? Maybe you put it on a scale. If you put a heavier thing on one side, that side will get pulled down by gravity more, and the light side will go up. That's how you can tell how heavy something is, right? But if you're building a building or a bridge or anything else in engineering, you don't want one side to get pulled down more than the other. And so it's really important that you're able to find the center of gravity. Now, the center of gravity is the middle point of an object, not based on how big it is, but based on how heavy it is. So if something is evenly weighted and the whole thing weighs the same, then the center of gravity is going to be exactly in the middle. That means that if you balance that object in the middle, it would stay even. One side wouldn't go down more. Now, some objects don't have a center of gravity in the middle of it. For example, if you had a shovel, where one end of the shovel is just a handle, it's probably made of wood, it's not very heavy. The other side is a metal shovel, it's gonna weigh a lot more. If you measured that shovel, let's say it's 2 meters long, and you decided to balance it at the 1 meter point, which would be the middle, it's going to go down on the shovel side. The shovel side weighs more than the handle side. But if you were to find the center of gravity, which is where you could balance it perfectly, then it would be even. So in your tower, try to make sure that the center of gravity is in the middle. Otherwise, one side is going to go down more and it's not going to be able to hold up a coffee mug. So I built my tower and I'm going to show you how I built mine, and then I'm going to show you that it can hold up a coffee cup. You can also look at my tower and see where the center of gravity is and how that's making it balance better. Then you can try it at home, and it's a challenge, so see if you can make a tower using only 17 cardboard squares that can still hold up a coffee mug, or if you don't have a coffee mug, it can hold up a bowl or a cup, and see if you can make yours taller than mine. So here's my finished tower. As you can see, I have one piece left over, and that one I'm going to put on the top so that I have a flat surface for the coffee mug to go on. Remember, to make the center of gravity the middle of the structure, I have to put the coffee mug, which is by far the heaviest part, right in the middle. And if you look at my structure, you can see that the middle is actually a hole. And that's because I made 4 of these mini structures. So it's just like almost like a hashtag shape, like that. And I'm gonna put them up next to each other. They don't even have to be attached. That's what's really cool about this, because they're gonna lean against each other and make it strong enough. So they're all leaning up next to each other. Then I'm gonna put my 17th and last little square on top. And I have my coffee mug here. It's a Winnie the Pooh coffee mug. And let's see if it will balance. There we go. So this coffee mug is perfectly balanced on my structure. And as you can see, my structure is about 2 inches tall. So that's not a very tall tower, but remember how we talked about in engineering, sometimes you only have a certain amount of resources to work with. And in this project, we're pretending that all we have to build a tower with is some cardboard. So, using the same amount of materials as I did, and with the challenge that you have to balance a coffee cup, see if you can build a taller tower. As long as you make sure that the center of gravity is in the middle, it should be able to balance the coffee cup. So, happy engineering, and I hope you come up with a really creative solution to this puzzle.